Hi, I'm David.
I'm Grace.
And we are Eternal Primavera Farm.
That was so cool.
Good morning and welcome back to Eternal Primavera Farm. Just out here with the birds, so every day starts with letting the birds out. The rooster lets us know that it's time, that's for sure. As soon as he sees first light, he is cock-a-doodling. So chicken enterprise is going really well. Really happy with the results of their rotation. This morning what we might do is do a quick tour of the farm. It's been 5 months since our last little walk around, so I think we should just go have a look at the market garden, have a look at some of the pastures, see how they're responding, and then we'll have a really nice comparison to the last time we shot. So the date today is the 8th of October. It is coming into spring. Mornings are beautiful, plenty of dew on the grass, still a bit of bite in the air. But yeah, let's go have a look. So you may remember back to some of the earlier videos when we first got our chickens. We started with 15 10-week-olds. They may have been a bit younger. Out of those 15 we had 9 roosters. So the freezer is now full of delicious pasture-raised roast chicken, and I can tell you that they are divine. Not ideal in terms of breeding out the flock. Some roosters went to new homes, but this fella here, Carlos, he's our survivor, and look at him, he's a bloody beauty. Keeps our girls safe, keeps them in line. And roosters are good because in the event that a fox or a predator does make it into the internal wall, the rooster will actually give up his life to protect the hens. So in this paddock here, this is our starting paddock that we I guess began trying to build some fertility and a bit of a pasture program in. So the chickens went around 2 rotations over about 2 months with 3 daily moves, so moving every 3 days, that is. And you can just start to see some of the development in this pasture that is as a result of that. And from there, what we've done along the tree rows, so throughout the paddock we have about 6 different rows on contour. Eventually we may dig a small swale with a mound, but for now what we've done is bring in loads of wood chip and bull kelp mixed together at about, I would say, 70-30, 60-40 mulch to seaweed. And what that's done is started to build a really nice bedding for worms, for biology, and also to slow the water down as it moves from that top paddock all the way down. So really happy with how they're moving along. They're just mulched on contour, and then what we've done, you may see in the tree guards, is plant our primary succession species, being our Cape wattles. We've also put a lot of other stuff in for those higher successional stages that may germinate when they're ready or when the system is ready. But yeah, the Cape wattles are really getting along, and what that's going to do is once the chickens then come back in here, is going to provide shelter, food, and protection from predation for these chickens. And not only that, but start to build some litter and leaf litter and get some roots down into this soil. So I mean, let's just take a quick walk through some of these areas where the chickens started. So this was one of the spots where the chicken tractor has been. We've come in, thrown the seed in behind the chickens, and already we've started to establish some more desirable species than what was here originally, being the Guildford grass and the sorrel and those sorts of things. So now we're looking at We've got some wild oat in here, some different oats, a bit of ryegrass. But if I just do a quick pick, and this is my new favourite thing to do, just to get a gauge on what sort of, how many species we're running in a little area. Get a few. Where's the seed head for that? Alright, so just having a quick pick, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different species, just off that's not including our flatweed and those sorts of things, but you know, working towards that pasture diversity. So if we can get that up somewhere around 50 or 60 over the next couple of years, I'll be very, very happy, and I think the soil is only going to respond better. So all the trees that are around that have been surrounded by these cover crop plantings that we've put in here have really responded well as well. So you'll really see that once we get to the oak grove area. The trees just look magnificent, and I mean the animal health is obviously playing is benefiting as well. So we'll go have a bit more of a look around. So there's our Cape Wattle. That was planted as a seedling, about a couple of inches tall, and already, you know, within a couple of months they're reaching above the tree guard. So within another couple of months we're going to have, you know, good sized trees in here, and then that's going to provide additional shelter from that southerly and from the southerly, and from that nor'wester that gets up, for any species that we want to protect, you know, so our higher value trees that we may plant into these rows over time. Yeah, take a walk through this bit, you get your boot shot, mate. So in here we have our newest paddock. This was fenced by us, so pretty stoked with that. Never done much fencing in my life, but Klaus has stepped in and showed us the ropes, and I'm pretty happy with how it's come up. So then the idea is to then start having a few more paddocks that we can start rotating. We'll be doing the same principle of splitting this paddock up into much smaller sizes, and then getting the mob of sheep and trying to bunch them up and do some really time controlled holistic grazing. So combine that with the chickens, then we're going to have another great source of that bio fertilisation, and also just some mineral cycling. So the sheep are going to eat obviously the grass, poo it out, and also just provide a bit of grazing pressure, because it's well noted that grasses and pastures respond really well to the right grazing pressure. So together with that, there's no better way to build soil health and soil fertility and to speed up that process. So this one will eventually get the tree rows like we have in here. So it's, imagine a agroforestry. So we have timber and fruit producing trees, nut producing trees in the rows, providing shelter for the stock, and also additional food, what they need, and an additional income for us over time. So, Rufus, here, get out. Sheepdog's still learning, wants to work. Here, come on. Good boy, good boy. Good boy. Good boy. You didn't chase him, did you? Welcome back to the market garden area that appeared in episode 1 of the Off-Grid Mortgage. If you haven't seen episode 1 of the Off-Grid Mortgage, head over to this link we'll provide in the video just below. Click on it, check it out, like it, share it. It'll mean a great deal to us. But yeah, we're really stoked with how this is coming along. We've we're eating from the garden every night, you know, and not everything, but you know, a couple of ingredients. So this was the garden that was, yeah, well, there was nothing growing in it. Theo romper stomped it. And we've been putting, yeah, because of its proximity to the house, it's a good idea to grow the things that you eat the most close, so you can just nip out from the kitchen, grab what you need, get back in there. See if we can get something, yeah. Carrots, lettuce, greens, snails, escargot, wifey. So this will be our next bed to renovate. The rockets obviously all gone to seed. Broad beans. Broad beans have gone crazy. This is rosemary that we've just taken cuttings of. So when this roots, we'll be planting this everywhere along the fence lines, because what tastes better with sheep or lamb than rosemary? Ah, did you see me pull the carrot out, did you? Here you go.
I didn't pull the carrot out. I told Theo that you pulled a carrot out.
Ah. Yummy, yummy.
Here's your basket.
There you go. Doesn't get fresher than that. I don't believe I've had the pleasure of introducing formally my beautiful wife-to-be and mother of Theodore, and soon to be another baby in the oven. So without my trusty sidekick, I couldn't get any of this done, and Grace is the mastermind that turns all of this produce into delicious food for our family. So how you liking being on the farm so far, darling?
I like it, I enjoy it, yeah. It's a big change from being in town, but it's nice to be able to grow some of our own food and work towards growing all of our own food, and it's great for Theo, a great place to grow up and be outside all the time, and yeah, he absolutely loves it.
Eating broad beans for breakfast. What do you think, T? Do you like the farm?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your favourite thing about the farm?
Digging.
Digging?
Digging.
To the gardening team, I think I bring the expertise in actually growing the food.
Do you?
And what do you do, darling?
I do the micromanaging and I cook all the food, and as part of that I have a business where I cook really nutritious, healthy food for mothers who've just had babies, or had, you know, it doesn't just have to be a new baby, but in the postpartum period, and we deliver all throughout the southwest these nourishing meal packs for mothers and their families, so they can eat beautiful locally grown food with a high nutritional value and get a little rest and nourishment that most mothers need and deserve. We've been using the greens from the garden and the kale and the chard and some herbs, but eventually we'd like to grow everything here for it.
What's your business called?
Mama Feel Good.
Mama Feel Good. That's it. There'll be a link below, or a link that will come across the bottom of this video if you want to support Grace's work. It would mean a lot to us and a lot to the farm. Like any small business, starting is hard, so get behind her. And Grace is also a nutritionist as well, so she's actually got some qualifications, not like the rest of us.
I do, and a food scientist. So, and eventually if we get more animals like cows, we'd like to be able to make dairy products.
Yeah, and animal meat products.
Yeah.
But also eventually, as part of the off-grid mortgage and our mission here with Eternal Primavera Farm, it's to educate people not only to be able to produce food, but to be able to prepare it in a nutritious and nourishing way. So Grace will also be featuring in some of the videos to come.
we'll share more of harvesting the produce from the garden and taking it to the kitchen, and then what you do to make really nourishing food simply. Quick, easy family meals that are nutritious too.
That's the one, honey.
Yeah.
So you may remember that this was a kaikui mound. We dug it out. We grabbed some blue gums from the forest, brought them in and made our retainers. Now all the kike is out of this bed. We do have a flush of ryegrass coming through, but that's going to provide good mulch once we cut it down. So Grace has got a whole bunch of bulbs planted in here. I think some ranunculus, don't know the anemones, freesias, poppies and everlastings. So they bring Grace a lot of joy.
Oh, and a bit gold.
Oh, they are a bit, aren't they? Hey, but this was part of the agreement. Grace wanted to just have flowers in this bed, only flowers. I managed to convince her to allow us to plant some food in here, and it turns out the broad beans have actually shaded out the bulbs a little bit, so I'm in a bit of strife. But the flowers are beautiful. Have a look at those. Beautiful, aren't they, T? We also have some macadamias in here. They've only been in for a short while. We've got rhubarb. It all needs a good chop back, which we'll get into. Alright, should we go have a look at the other bits?
Yeah.
Maybe something else to note is that we planted our canna edulis along here, our arrowroot. That is an experiment to see if we can stop the kite coming back into this bed. So we'll see how we go. So far so good.
We shouldn't have planted the broad beans in there
I just said that, yeah.
because it shaded it out too much.
I don't want to keep walking.
Yeah, Daddy will carry you if you like. Do you want to go up top? Yeah? This is the bed that also appeared in video 1 of the off-grid mortgage, and these broad beans are the ones that Theo was picking and that we've just put around everywhere, and they've just gone gangbusters, so really happy with that. We were just growing them as a cover crop. I was thinking I'd just chop and drop them. Are they? Yeah. Naughty boys. But yeah, we haven't put any trellis up or anything like that.
They are naughty boys.
And they...
And aphids are naughty boys.
And they have gone, yeah, they're leaning over, but they're all supporting each other. So it's, and we're getting a harvest, so really happy. I believe we are going to trial a dry falafel mix.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
I'm down.
Okay. Coming down.
Put those ones in the basket.
Here.
Is that what you and Granny do?
So yeah, broad beans, I think after this cycle we'll do some sweet potatoes and maybe even get some of our summer veg into here, the later summer veg. But we'll probably have a couple, about 6 weeks or 8 weeks left of harvest off these broad beans anyway before they're kaput. And then yeah, work out what's going to go in here next. There's Carnaby. And I can't help but think, where else would you rather get your food from? Got the blue wrens getting around the veggies, Carnaby's overhead, forest coming underneath, feeding the soil. Theo and Gracie on the pick.
And the cooking.
And the cooking.
I will pick all the ones that are ready.
What? Can you bit them?
And I'll pass them to you.
Oh.
You can count them and put them in the basket.
And 2,
Yeah.
3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What's that? 6,
7, 8, 9, 10.
Wow. Good job. Okay, so this bed here has gone a bit crazy, but it is very much planned craziness. So what we have through the middle here, we have a garlic crop that should be ready. Okay. Here, darling.
I can't eat. I can eat. 100, 5.
Nice. Okay, and then what we have on the other side is a cover crop that was never chopped. So first thing we did in here was bring the soil and build the bed, and then I've put a multi-species cover crop in. So it's just a regen mix with all your clovers, your rye, wild oats, those sorts of things. And it's gone absolutely crazy. This side I've cut back with the sickle 2 times, and I've just mulched it or started collecting some hay for the mushroom room. And then I'm going to try and harvest this seed along that side once it dries off. So I'll hand harvest it, clean it really roughly, and then use that to get seed out into the paddock. Just don't tell Monsanto. So yeah, and then from here we'll be chopping this further. This is going to build this soil sponge. We're going to have plenty of roots in this soil, and then hopefully, and maybe if necessary, we'll solarize the whole thing and replant it. So by solarize I mean I'll just chuck a tarp over it, silage tarp or something similar, terminate the crop, plant something fresh into it. We'll get a garlic crop for sure.
It's just been a bit shaded out by the cover crop.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we wouldn't put as much cover crop in next time.
No.
Yeah.
No. The cover crop's been a lot more vigorous and a lot more resilient than I would have figured. So it's been quite a challenge just to keep up with the growth and to keep things looking neat and tidy. Let's say that. So here's some of our garlic crop. So looking quite healthy. You know, it has been obviously a little bit challenged with the shade. There you go, there's some more. There's a few slugs on that one though. But yeah, so testing some of the assumptions of you know, garlic needs to be weeded vigorously and super clean. We'll see how it goes, because this way we can work towards all of building soil health and also getting a good crop off, hopefully. Over here we've got some newly planted asparagus too. So Grace's father Nige, he's given us a bunch of rhizomes, and they've already started spearing up. So,
but we won't.
We'll get a good flush of ferns through here. Once the ferns grow up, we'll chop them back, and then hopefully next year we'll get our first asparagus harvest.
And harvest all the asparagus, and he put them hay on them.
That's a good idea, darling. Put some hay on top. But yeah, look, you know what I mean, like this garlic's.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Whoa, hear that? Got that on tape. So we have more market garden beds to come. So that one's full of potatoes, thanks to a trusty brother and some plantings a couple of weeks ago. This is actually a bed, believe it or not, bed under construction, but it's just going bananas. But we're happy with that. If there's plants on it, it's covered, it's keeping the moisture in, feeding the soil biology. Happy days. What are you doing over there, Tio? Climbing the fig tree? Coming down to what will be, I guess, the heart and soul of the market garden, probably the side that will produce our excess or our volume of produce. Up there, I envision that being more of our sustenance for our property and for us to eat. But down here, I believe that this will become more of our market garden area where we produce a lot of our cash flow vegetables. So what we have to start with, do you want to come up?
No.
Oh, you're right. You're going to play with your diggers? Yeah. So in this first run here, we have our rocket and kale first crop that we planted as soon as we got to the property. These were completely barren. The only thing growing on them was nightshade and Dutch thistle and other thistle. So we've worked hard to try and get it covered in, again, more diverse ranges of plants, and just to work on that, again, the soil health there. So what we've done here, that is going to be a seed harvest. So the kale has now gone to seed, the rocket's almost ready for a harvest. This bed was the same. Yesterday what we've done is got in there with the sickle and hand sickled a lot of this green waste onto the soil surface and mulched it up quite heavy. And then what?
Of my aunt.
Yeah, do you just remember how Daddy taught you like this? On the dew, remember? You do that. That's it. Then it's clean, isn't it? All clean?
Yeah.
Good job. So this will be a section that we're solarizing here. So we're trying something a little bit different on this one particularly, but because we have a sheet, so we've green mulched all of the growth that was there onto the soil surface, cardboard over the top, and then wrapped it in the plastic. So that'll sit for a couple of weeks or until everything looks like it's died off, and then we can get in there and plant a new crop. I think it'll be something summer crop, so either tomatoes or cucumber or corn, something like that. Along this run here we have our snow peas, so they were quite late but producing abundantly. And then into this bed here, which was another steep learning curve like everything out on the farm. I had a cover crop in it. I mowed the cover crop back really short and then planted all of our annual seed into it, so boys are getting a bit into it. Cut it out, boys. And my idea was that the annual crops would get up and, much like pasture cropping, would outcompete the ryegrass and the cover crop that I had in there. It didn't quite get there. The annuals did not get above. The ryegrass pumped out profusely, and now it looks like this looks like a ryegrass bed really, but a bit of a meadow. But if you go through there is still radish in there, watermelon radish, there's some beetroot, there's some carrots, but I think I will end up solarizing some of this depending on how it goes. As we evolve our system and learn more, this is a good example of that. It looks a lot tidier, it's productive. So we have our giant wild harvested garlic, which is quite a unique species. I think I'm very excited to see how that goes. Broad beans trellised up with snow peas coming through them. Then we have potatoes, kipfler potatoes either side. And can say that we had some kipflers for dinner last night and they are delicious. So pumped on that. And then further down the line, here we can just jump out the back here. So 1, 2, 3, that's 4 beds. Here's our 5th, which has just been finished yesterday. Well, finished meaning prepared, I would say. It's not planted yet, although we do have some fennel, coriander, and then the end of this is going to make way for our summer vegetables. Here, you wipe them on the grass. Yeah, right there, that would be great. And then what we're going to have in this section here is our, so we're solarizing that grass. We'll be planting in our cucumbers, our melons. I don't think we need any, do we, darling? Not for breakfast. But you know what, when we go to the markets, we might be able to find some taters. More potatoes.
More baby potatoes?
Yeah, or we can pick some when we need some for dinner next. Look, there's a snow pea there you can pick. Look at that. What's this?
What is it? What's this? What's this?
Snow pea, isn't it? And you can see already, this has only been on for about 9 days. And we're already getting some of that solarizing effect. So this is just going to make it a little bit easier to establish our annuals. And yeah, really excited to see how it goes. So here we are standing on top, sun's out now, so it's going to be another beautiful day, beautiful spring day. Standing on top of the soon-to-be food forest mound. So a wonderful friend of mine, Wink Lindsay, who is doing our workshop coming up, she suggested that when you're creating a food forest, all you need to do is expand your rings around your fruiting trees and then start to plant, you know, your nasturtiums and shrubs and things around in those rings, and then sooner or later they'll be starting to interconnect, and voila, you have your food forest. So we've got predominantly citrus up here. We've got some blood oranges, lemons, Lisbon lemons, navel oranges. We've got an avocado over there, but at this stage mainly citrus, so all doing really well. And the reason we chose to do that was the existing citrus that was on site looked very healthy, and it obviously was a good spot for it. So we'll continue to plant this out until it is quite a dense food forestry section. Obviously its proximity to the water, we're going to get all sorts of microclimate opportunities, so who knows what we could grow in here in the years to come. We've also got a macadamia over here, mandarin down the bottom, and I'm going to tread carefully through here because 2 days ago I saw a big tiger snake just laying in the grass over here, so we'll just have a quick scout. Macadamia is in here.
How is this going?
Hello, darling.
How is this going?
You know what that is?
Macadamia.
Yeah.
Nice.
Looking good.
Yeah.
If you...
Daddy.
That's a lemon, isn't it? So if you missed out on the episode where to get a comparison again for this mound, check out the Off-Grid Mortgage Big Red Tractor. I believe we did a bit of work in this area on that episode, so it'll give you a good comparison. And yeah, again, come along for the journey and see where we started, where we're headed, and where we're at. We've recently got a bunch of new hives, and the plan is to then expand our beehive capacity. So we've got an additional 5 hives, 10 boxes ready to rock, just awaiting nuclei for the upcoming season. We do have 2 ready to rock, so pretty excited about that. We've already harvested excess of 20 kilos of honey from our first hive, so there's obviously huge capacity here to increase this with the native vegetation. So I wouldn't be surprised if one day we have up to 100, 150 hives here on this property. So watch this space.
I am going down.
So through the oak grove here, we've recently rotated the chickens through. We've removed the rings, given them a really good prune up off some of the lower and some of the splitting heads of the trees, so just to provide some more energy. And by gosh, they've responded bloody well. I'm really happy with how it's looking out there. Really excited to run some more animals through. So we had the chickens already.
My mom.
Yeah, darling, we can go back to the house in a minute, okay? And yeah, so the plan will be then to be able to graze sheep in an electric mesh system underneath these trees. Once we start to produce acorns, we're obviously going to produce a premium product, whether that's pigs or whether that's sheep. But already you can start to envision this oak grove as it's what it's going to be. You know, when these trees are 10 metres tall, it's just going to be its own microclimate, own little forest system. So
Stand on me.
yeah.
Oh,
Anyway, I think so. Should we say goodbye to the camera?
Goodbye, Grandma.
Alright, so that should conclude our tour of Eternal Primavera Farm for the Off-Grid Mortgage episode, God knows what. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, we're a small family business trying to build a dream. So if you resonate with what we're doing and want to learn more, want to help support our work, please subscribe, like, share, follow, all that stuff. And look forward to bringing you more content and more nutritious, delicious food production soon. So thanks again from the bottom of my heart. Hope you're having a wonderful day.